Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This time we are on episode 7 of season 4. Last time we got a very meaty episode, a very juicy episode, a lot of backstory and content to go along with it. We had two different types of backstory. We had the backstory for Eli and his time working with Joseph and Lucy and the rest of the team, and him also kind of, them also kind of discovering the new tech that Lucy and Joseph managed to create with the Darkhold. They didn't actually show them the Darkhold. Joseph, that was the one thing about Joseph. Joseph was very secretive and controlling and possessive over the Darkhold. Even when Eli questioned him about it once, and he was like, you know what, just shut up and do the work we tell you to do, and then everything will be fine. So he was very possessive over the Darkhold and wouldn't let anyone go near it. So there was that, and then the twist came at the very end of the episode where it was revealed that Eli was the one who had actually killed the rest of the team, including Lucy. Lucy was the last one to go, and then Joseph, he'd, beaten him within an inch of his life and had hospitalized him to the state that we saw him in before he died after Lucy woke him up and everything. So we had that, and then it turned out it was Eli all along. Not even, I don't know, yeah, kind of, not even in like an Agatha all along way, just like it was genuinely Eli all along. He was the one, it was revealed that he wanted the power all along, and he had actually killed the others for getting in his way, or to actually keep them from getting in his way. And then he had actually tried to beat the information out of Joseph, and he just wouldn't give it up no matter what. So then he ended up actually going to hospital, and then Lucy ended up killing him in an attempt to try and find the book. So yeah, in the end, Joseph just died. He died ultimately in the hands of the ghost of his own wife. So things went sideways there. But Eli, I think I read one of the comments on the previous reaction. Apparently he's the MCU's Molecule Man. So that is not a name or a character I'm aware of. So that's good to know. So he apparently, I don't know if Eli is the one in the comics, or if they just kind of adapted it this way for the MCU, but either way, he's apparently now the Molecule Man, but by the end of it, he did actually activate the machine with him inside, and he did come out with the ability to create carbon with his bare hands. So like that pod machine that Joseph had created was to actually turn him into a quantum particle generating kind of being. So he wanted the power to create stuff at will. So we don't know what the extent of his powers are. If he can actually create, if it's just carbon, or if he can create other things, or what he can do. But either way, he's activated the machine and turned himself into Molecule Man. So now the team has to stop him. But speaking of the team, Robbie, Fitz, and Coulson disappeared. There was a they were underground in the lab still. Mack had actually gone back to get the EMP thing from the Quinjet, and then May had been given the Darkhold. Coulson and May found the Darkhold, and he reassured he reassured her that she was the only one that he would trust with something as deadly and as powerful as that. So then she was trusted with actually taking it back to the Quinjet to get it back into Shield custody again. So then Mack and May were actually coming back with the S.H.I.E.L.D. team when the wave of light kind of burst out from the ground. So because Robbie was running through a corridor, Coulson was literally right outside the pod. He discovered that Eli was the antagonist all along, and then Fitz was in the control room and everything. So they were still in the vicinity. They were in the vicinity when Eli activated the machine and everything. So they've disappeared now. I don't know where they've gone. That was quite the cliffhanger. For them to end the episode on. That happened. So now I think I don't know if he consumed them or if he absorbed them in some way. I'm trusting that they're not dead. And that they don't have to be resurrected. A resurrection wouldn't really be out of the question, because this whole show exists because one guy was resurrected, and then it was a shitstorm from there on in. But still, I'm trusting that that they're not dead, and we haven't lost them, and the team doesn't have to move heaven and earth and hell and all the other dimensions again just to bring 3 people back. But either way, they're gone, and Eli now has superpowers, so now they have to try and stop him. So that's all well and good. So we had that. We had May taking the Darkhold. So yeah, now the Darkhold is back in S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. So now I think now their primary objective would be to get Coulson and Robbie and Fitz back, and then to actually figure out what to do with. There wouldn't really be much to do with the Darkhold. Because knowing what it is, I don't know if Coulson himself would actually encourage any kind of experimentation or any. I mean, they might analyze it somewhat, but then I don't know if because then even if they do that, I wonder if I think they might have to actually pick and choose who does get to analyze it, because then knowing what it does, it kind of lures the reader in with this kind of promise of infinite and advanced knowledge that about anything they could ever want to know, and then they want to know even more, and then they end up creating giant machines and stuff of their own. So I don't know if they actually would analyze it, or if they would just kind of throw it away and lock throw it away, lock it up and then throw away the key or something, or even if if Mace would want it to be experimented on or analyzed or something. But either way, they've got the Dark Codes now. We can wait to see what Shield actually does with it. Because I mean, now they do, now with Mace being in charge, now with that, they actually finally have the Dark Code. But then Fury, he looked into it and he tried to search for it, but he never found it. But then deep down, he also knew that it was power that no one should have to mess with, compared to the mentalities of Red Skull and Daniel Whitehall. So now Shield, years later now Shield finally has possession of the Dark Code, so it should be an interesting path to see them take. So there's that. And we also had some very, very, very interesting stuff with Robbie and Gabe. Gabe kind of recalling what he knew of the whole kind of Good Samaritan story, and the Good Samaritan is the person it is what he calls the person who actually saved him and Robbie on the night of their accident, the night of their car accident. They were actually ambushed by gang members that Joseph had actually hired to try and take Eli out, because it was his car, but then they were the ones driving it and everything. So he called him the Good Samaritan, and then Robbie actually finally, after years, he actually decided to. Maybe years, like a year or two or something. I don't know how long ago it actually was. It just said back in the day, so no specific kind of time frame. But yeah, so then Robbie actually revealed that, for one thing, it was the Ghost Rider. So we have another Ghost Rider. We have another Ghost Rider in the MCU. I think that is confirmed now to be Johnny Blaze. Now the comments did help me confirm that. So that was Johnny Blaze, and he, in the kind of midst, the split second before he died, the split second he was actually spinning in the air, he admitted to actually calling out to any deity, any higher figure, any higher power that would listen, that he was willing to do anything to spare Gabe's life and to actually, help him and save his life, that he would do anything and he would give anything. And then he actually said yes to all of the Ghost Rider's kind of questions and deals and everything. And then afterwards, Johnny came by on his bike and his giant flaming skull, and he saved Robbie and he turned him into the Ghost Rider too. So I think Johnny is still around. He's still around as the Ghost Rider, but now that spirit of vengeance has been passed on to someone else. So now a newer-ish kind of generation has their Ghost Rider with the car and everything. So that was the night Robbie Reyes was reborn as the Ghost Rider. So yeah, and then Gabe actually managed to see it in action too. He actually Robbie fought Mace on the Zephyr. He broke out of the containment pod. So the containment pod the containment module can contain literally anything except for Ghost Rider, which makes sense because that thing was actually introduced back in season 3 at the height of kind of Inhuman presence and stuff. So they designed it with Inhumans in mind, and if there's one thing that the Ghost Rider is not, it's Inhuman. Literally, he has been asked by almost everyone he's come across on this team whether or not he's Inhuman, and he's honestly getting tired of it. So this is proof. Inhumans cannot escape. Like regular humans definitely can't escape it. Inhumans, it's designed to contain them to the best of its ability. But now the Ghost Rider is the first person to kind of really physically, visually prove, I am not a fucking Inhuman. I am the spirit of vengeance. So yeah, and then Fitz himself just being so kind of being so stubborn with actually disproving Ghost Rider's kind of deal with the devil kind of theory and everything, or his kind of statement that he made a deal with the devil and that he's from hell and everything. So now he's disproving that he broke out that module, and then he went toe to toe with Mace, and then Gabe even had to actually kind of goad Robbie back into the light and actually bring him out of his whole lashing out and everything. So that was a cool scene, a super cool scene, super cool kind of sequence to see. So now Gabe knows. Now Gabe knows that his brother is the Ghost Rider. He already knows the Ghost Rider because the Ghost Rider is like a street legend, pretty much, who hunts down gang members and kills them and burns them and everything. So he already knows that is the kind of alias that Robbie now falls, that Ghost Rider falls under. That's the kind of description he falls under. But now he also knows that Robbie and Ghost Rider are one and the same people. So Yeah, and he was not too pleased. He was not. I mean, he was definitely freaked out. But then, of course, he was also angry that that Robbie felt like he had to exact any kind of vengeance on the people that did this to them, and that he felt like he had to spill blood just to get vengeance or justice or anything. So yeah, so I look forward to the conversation that happens between them in this and all forthcoming episodes. So yeah, but I think honestly the Ghost Rider story in this season has been so good so far. It's been so great to see this, and also to be introduced to like before this, only having been familiar with Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider, it's cool to be introduced it's cool to be introduced to another incarnation of the Cactus, and for them to actually for Marvel to actually kind of really run home the idea that, oh yeah, the Ghost Rider is just like a mantle, or almost anyone can take up that mantle and become the Ghost Rider, but this is definitely like a different one, and Gabriel Luna has been crushing it so far. He's been crushing it, and he's also gonna crush it with oh god, what's his name? The Mandalorian. God, why am I forgetting his name now? Pedro Pascal. He's gonna crush it with Pedro Pascal, and the actress who plays Ellie, I can't remember what her name is, but she was in Game of Thrones, and Pedro was in Game of Thrones, so they're both all three of them are going to HBO. They're going to do the live-action Last of Us series, which is going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait for that show to come out. Hopefully it's also available in the UK, so I can react to it, but that is going to be great. He's been cast as Tommy Miller, Joel's brother in The Last of Us, so I can't wait for that series. He's going to crush it. But yeah, I think this and that. I mean, once that comes out, this and that will be the only kind of things I've really seen him in. I haven't really watched all of the Terminator series. I don't know if like Dark Fate is actually something you need to kind of watch like sequentially or chronologically, or if you can just jump into it without really knowing too much about the previous films. But it looks like a fun enough time. But I think Terminator fans, from what I hear, don't really enjoy it all that much. But either way, Gabriel Luna is great. He's a fantastic actor, and especially for like action, drama, sci-fi series, he's definitely fit for that. So can't wait to see how he does in The Last of Us. I genuinely cannot wait for that show. But on to an equally great show, on to an equally more great show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, that is pretty much all I can really recall from the last episode. So on to episode 7 of this marvelous show. On to episode 7. So this will be the highlights reaction for the fair use for fair use reasons. This will just be the highlights. But if you guys want to catch the full unedited version, the full length reaction, that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. But yeah, on to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's go.
We're here to escort you out of here.
Oh no, what's he gonna summon?
Armed.
Oh, he's got a giant shard of carbon. He can just create carbon and expand upon it
Pure
then.
carbon.
Yeah.
Sir.
Whoa, how did he do that? Did he just materialize it inside of them?
Agents died for no reason.
And hopefully Simmons will give us a way to avenge them. And if we're really...
You're not Avengers, you're S.H.I.E.L.D.
maybe she'll
agents.
find hope for saving our friends.
I'm sorry, I had to make that joke. I had to. Forgive me.
The subject's been gestating for 7 months.
Oh, damn, that is a long time.
How has he survived?
7 months.
We want to know what he'll become.
Why? Surely who he was is of some importance too, right? Especially if he was connected to Senator Nadia.
He didn't know what was inside it.
He knew enough. It's Pandora's box, and you don't know the consequences.
That's a
Neither
good,
do
yeah, it's a good
This
comparison.
might be our only shot at saving them.
Melinda, don't you dare.
You wanted to speak.
Oh damn, calling her by her first name. That is sincerity
Yes,
at its
sir.
finest.
First we sharpen the axe, and then we chop the tree.
My axe is plenty sharp. And a shot.
Yeah, he
Portfolio
has the
leads into
combination.
time after
Yeah,
we
he can
study
shoot
these
the tree
tactics.
down and he can chop it into bits.
Zephyr's wheels up in 5.
Yeah.
Sir, you gotta stop. Director's orders. We're about to take off any minute.
Whoa!
Mack, what's gotten into you?
I know Mack has loyalty, but this seems a little bit hard-headed.
You got the knowledge from the Darkhold.
They can't see them and they don't know yet.
Grab him.
Oh, they don't even know yet.
Hans himself.
No Fitz either.
What?
Oh
I
yeah?
don't get it.
What do you...
There should be some sign of them. It's like they
They
vanished.
can't see them.
Report in.
Yeah, report! Report! I'm right here! The blast.
Oh god, that acting is on point. That acting is pretty on point. Eli won't be able to hear him either.
Behind this the whole time.
Nope. So they're ghosts, but they haven't manifested yet. They haven't actually materialized. They are ghosts, so I presume, but they haven't manifested properly.
He's armed.
I love the color grading on this. It's so like feels so accurate to how it would be. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do to us? I've got to phone her. Let her know that I'm
Okay.
in
Fitz, be smart about this. You really, you really think that's gonna know? The dead cannot
Oh, what's
contact
she
you.
gonna think?
Do it with a Ouija board. Oh, if they do it with a Ouija board, I will officially love this show more than I already do. If they actually try a Ouija board. Can he summon the Ghost Rider? No.
He's fighting me right now.
No, the Ghost Rider doesn't like this dimension. No, he doesn't like this one. He likes Earth. Yeah, he likes Earth.
All of us.
I know what Agent Fitz means to her.
Fitz, I need sunlight,
Oh.
warmth, anything.
Oh, the spirit needs it.
Dying here.
Yeah, the Ghost Rider really doesn't like this dimension. He really doesn't like this dimension. Oh yeah, just give him a good hug. Just wrap him up in a good warm
you to hear me.
Fitz hug. Yeah.
You can do this. Hear me, please.
Can they break through?
I'm right here.
If they try hard enough, can they break through a barrier and try and attempt communication? Whoa! Is he in Mack? Is the Ghost Rider in Mack?
What do you mean? Where did it go? Oh, nothing. Just Max the Ghost Rider now, but you can't hear us, so. Bloody hell.
It's the Ghost Rider. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just dancing my way through. Oh god, Max the Ghost Rider. Alfonso Mackenzie is the Ghost Rider. Is he gonna get a flaming skull?
Thank you for coming on such a terrible day.
Oh, and Ada's
Fitz, you
here.
can't-
Ada's here. Yeah.
You met my sister.
Oh, she's wearing a suit. A nice grey suit. Oh.
We're devastated by what's happened to Fitz and the team. We've gotten to work straight away.
Good.
It's too much for a human mind to bear.
Oh.
You
It,
tell that to Simmons.
it sent... The idea of it sent Eli crazy. So what can actually reading it do? Actually reading it made Joseph want to have organic power in his hands.
Because despite the lack of respect I've been shown today, I assume I was brought here because your bosses value my expertise. So impress them by keeping me happy. Everyone out.
And we'll get through this together.
Oh, it's breaking! The cocoon is breaking! They're coming out! The power of Gemma Simmons. Yeah.
Perhaps I could read the book.
Yeah, let a robot read it. Let Ada read it.
No. Not exactly my assistant. Or human.
What?
She's an android. So she is my assistant, but
So, is she gonna see it in like binary code, like 01101100011 and everything? Is she gonna get it in binary code? Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, she still got it. Oh, she still got it.
You need to come with me.
I'm never going back.
read the book. Read.
So does he give her the idea then? Does he give Ada the idea to actually read the book?
Perhaps I could read the book.
There we go.
She's a robot?
Yeah.
An android. For you and Daisy, that meant throwing it in the towel. But we built Ada to protect agents like him.
I didn't throw in the towel.
You handed it over to a director who betrayed Simmons! He sent her off God knows where! We were having an argument. And now she's out there alone. And I'm gone.
He would never hurt her. Everything's gonna be alright.
The pages are blank.
For you, because you're not the one reading them, you doofus. She sees them in binary. She says 011011, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't mention
Nice
it.
to meet you, Gemma.
What's your name?
Oh, seriously?
Thank you, Doctor.
Wow, as soon as he wakes up, it's like, yep, your time is done. We can send you back to S.H.I.E.L.D. now.
No, please don't kill me.
Oh, God.
Stay.
Stay.
We had a deal. You still owe me vengeance.
Your neighborhood is soaked in the blood I spilled for you.
None of that matters if I don't take down the monster behind all
Oh,
this.
that music is so good. So good.
Eli.
Oh damn! Shiny hands. I love some shiny hands.
I'm building an interdimensional gateway with an android I've created.
Oh, he's creating a gateway. Oh geez, what is that? Is that the mirror dimension?
It's not ideal, but Mac, he has a lot of pain. He lost hope.
We made a deal.
Very refined cheekbones. Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere.
It's like a Doctor Strange portal. It's like it runs like a Doctor Strange portal. Yeah.
Deadly mistake.
Fight it!
That's it, fight!
Come on, that's it. Let's go home. Get back to your Melinda. There we go. Okay, there we go. You did it, Ada! You did it! Okay.
Settle my score, and I'll settle yours. All of yours.
What's his score? What's the rider's score? Oh, going back into Robbie. But how's Robbie gonna come out there? He's nowhere near the shield base. How's he gonna come out through the portal?
What happened? Where'd he take it?
Hell.
Oh, he took the rider back into hell.
Alex, where is he? Because I heard you in the zone. Gemma? Gemma?
Hope. 4/18/06. 18th of April 2006. What happened on the 18th of April? Oh no, Mac, what happened on the 18th of April 2006? What happened to you? Oh. Oh. Oh, he made it back through.
I thought I'd be seeing you.
Want to help settle my last score?
Oh, damn. Ada saved the day. You didn't do shit. Ada saved the day. Yeah, props to Ada. She really pulled through with her non-humanity. With her non-humanity, she really pulled through. Ada, what you up to, girl? Is she building a brain? Is it a human brain? Okay. Okay. My god, this was an episode. This was an episode. That's exactly what this was. Both, you know, productively and quality-wise, it was an episode, and such a good episode. This, you know, there's so much I want to get into, and I'm gonna get into all of it. So, you know, buckle up. You know, go pause this video, go get snacks. You know, go take a bathroom break, go get some water and some snacks. I already mentioned snacks, but go do all of that if you need to, because we are gonna be here for a little bit of a while. Because knowing me, I'm gonna start rambling, and when I do, I don't know when I'm gonna stop, but there's a full page of notes for me to get through, and get through it, I damn well will. So, yeah, but the only trouble is I have no idea where to start. I don't know where to start with this, but you know what? Let's do it like a song. Let's take it from the top. But yeah, I'm not actually gonna sing this. I'm not that crazy. But yeah, so I mean, I'll talk about like the whole kind of parallel, that kind of parallel. I didn't think I was not entirely sure if we'd get that. I was not. Going into this, I didn't know how they were gonna tackle the whole, you know, Fitz and Coulson and Robbie are gone kind of dilemma. I didn't know if they would actually show us where they were. I thought, you know, I was kind of presuming, like, once the episode started, like, once we got into it and we saw the land and we actually experienced things for like 5 or 10 minutes from the land of the living, I was like, you know, oh, like, in the back of my head I was thinking, okay, so what could have actually happened to them? Like what could have that machine done to them in reverse of what it did to Eli? So, you know, Eli used it once. I think, no, he didn't use it once, actually. No, I think he did it. I think the last time we saw him do it, he put Lucy in the machine. He put Lucy in the machine, and then he turned it on there, and then even when that happened, it didn't really give her powers. It just kind of sent her and the rest of the team into the other parallel kind of limbo dimension, into the parallel limbo dimension. So this time, I think those were maybe specific settings that he knew to put in, or something else went wrong, but this time he actually managed to give him powers, and then anyone within that vicinity, as we saw, were actually wiped out and everything. So yeah, so soon enough into the episode before it was actually revealed, I did kind of start to think, you know what, like last time the machine was used, it did pretty much do like some ghostification to Lucy and the team. So maybe the same thing happened to Robbie and Fitz and Coulson. Maybe they were like blasted into like a parallel dimension. Because even when the episode kind of like someone did like a rewind back and showed that whole scene running over again, but this time with Coulson and Fitz present, you know, it did kind of have that kind of idea, and especially like the color grading in those scenes was so well done too. Like, I mean, in some shots, Fitz even had a very, very peculiar kind of yellowy, greenish kind of tint that I really kind of liked. But the entire environment in that scene had like a whole kind of color grading thing done to it that actually showed it was a different kind of setting. So that was really well done, effects wise, and that detail really worked out. So I mean, I figured, at first I was like, oh, they must have been blasted into some kind of parallel dimension, and they can like see everything, but they can't interact. And I figured that whole parallel was coming too. So they can actually see Coulson, they can see May and they can actually see May and Mac, but they can't actually interact with them. They can't see them. They can't be seen or heard or anything like that. So that was happening, so I figured that would come in. But yeah, and I liked that slow reveal too. I loved that kind of slow reveal, because I think for Coulson and Fitz, like, you know, and even for them, even on the like I think it was once they got onto the Zephyr. Once they got onto the Zephyr, they noticed that, you know, the voices were a lot kind of more muffled and quieter. The lights were dimmer, so even for them, even in their kind of perspective of reality, even for them, like the kind of color grading for them was different. The environment worked differently, and everything felt and looked different. So that was like a really nice attention to detail, I felt like, and it was like a way of actually kind of somewhat accurately kind of portraying to us what it would feel and look like to them too. So yeah, but back to the scene in the generator room. So I liked that kind of slow progression, because I think when May and Matt come in, they don't know any better. Like they don't know to suspect that something has changed, or that, you know, like that anything has happened to them, or that, you know, like May and Mac might not actually, you know, recognize or see them or anything like that. So then they just carry on talking and coming up with responses and stuff, and assume that everything's going on well, and like that whole team dynamic changes too. So I think that's like the slightest hint of team dynamic that then leads like team dialogue that then leads into that slow kind of realization that, oh no, Mac and May can't hear or see us. They're like they can't, you know, like notice us in any way, and we can't interact with them either. So yeah, that whole kind of slow progression was really cool, and also seeing just how much their ghostly kind of presence and existence actually affected the world as the episode went through too. Like that was really fun. You know, like them actually like them actually talking hard enough and loud enough that, you know, like something could happen in the actual real world. Like, you know, like I think who was it? I don't know who it was. I think I mean. The one that I can remember the most was in the car with Daisy and Robbie, like Robbie jumping into the car immediately. So him actually bashing on the dashboard, and then the turn signal showing up, and then the light beeping. So then like her being and like Daisy notices the sound and the actual third effect, and then she actually sees the turn signal. And she's like, "Wait, Robbie, is that you?" So they can actually interact somewhat like depending on how hard they try, how motivated they are, how much effect their corporeal forms can have. And yeah, I think it would have been so cool. It would have been cool. It would have been cool if they actually got to do their own ghostly figures. But then they explained why they couldn't do that. It's because they were actually sent into that kind of limbo further and deeper than Lucy and her team ever was. So Lucy and her team were lucky enough to still be somewhat on the surface level. They could actually interact and phase in and out of reality like actual ghosts. But then with Coulson, I think with Coulson and Fitz and Robbie, they were sent into that dimension under different settings. Like this time, Eli actually using the machine to give himself powers and to take out anyone else on the outside and everything. So he gave himself powers, so he can just create carbon. He can create endless carbon. He created like a whole shard of carbon, then broke it on the ground, and then that same shard multiplied and just, you know, pierced through the shoulders and chests of all the other shield agents, and then they died. So RIP to them. And then he just created like a wall of carbon too. So I'm wondering if he really is actually the molecule man. I mean, maybe he just manipulates molecules of carbon. He can do whatever the hell he wants with carbon. I think that could also be because the machine itself, like, you know, even originally I think the one and only thing they ever did with the machine was actually to create carbon artificially. So they didn't really go as far as to create actual weapons or anything. So So that, I mean, that's still just as cool. That's still just as cool. So Eli was there, and then Robbie tried to interact with Eli, and then I think he found out he found out sooner than Coulson and Fitz did about Mack and Miller. He actually tried to interact with Eli, but then Eli didn't respond. He just went ahead and killed the agent. So then yeah, and then his actual kind of relief when he finds Coulson and Fitz standing in front of him, and he actually is able to actually interact and touch them. Like he just just grabs Fitz's chest and makes sure that he's actually real and everything. So that kind of parallel was cool, but just the way the ghosts worked, I think again it would have been cool to see them with ghosts, but I think this one worked that much better because of the fact that they were fighting so hard to actually get back to the land of the living, to the dimension of the living and stuff, and it just kind of it feels like it brings. I think the fact that I think again, like in terms of story and in terms of acting as well, like especially acting, I feel like them not being able to interact with the living in any in any normal way or in any kind of simple way means that they actually try that much harder to interact, or they try that much harder to find a way home and to send messages through, like even repeating simple phrases like oh, don't use the dark code, don't open the dark code, like Coulson trying to warn May, and then Mack being Mack, he's still loyal to Coulson's commands and his advice and everything. He's like, I know you're going through it right now, but Coulson warned us not to open that book under any circumstances. So, like that kind of, like those kinds of moments too, just bring out so much more. And I think, again, it's cool seeing the ghosts. They have a cool design, and I think again, like with Lucy and her team, different settings, different strengths. They were lucky enough to exist in that format at all, but with Coulson and Fitz and Robbie, they had no other choice, and we really saw that. So props to the writers for making that feel so real and for making it feel so genuine. And props to the actors too. The actors really did a hell of a job. So, oh boy, that stuff was amazing. That was really amazing. So then they took the Dark Code back to S.H.I.E.L.D. and they opted to have Radcliffe read instead. So I was wondering, even in the reaction, I mentioned it, but I was wondering, like, him being a transhumanist, especially, like, what kind of information would he get? And also, it was like him being Scottish too. I was wondering, like, is he going to get it in English? Because even if you're, I think, because I mean, Lucy mentioned that German was Joseph's first language, but not whether or not it was his more prominent one. Because I mean, he speaks English, and he has a fairly good English accent too to go along with it. So he actually does it does sound more kind of natural through him. But I think, I mean, because think, yeah, if it's your first language being your language and your language of origin, maybe the one you're raised into before you learn another one, or before you learn the one that's actually more prominent to wherever you're living. Like, I don't know if it works that way, or if it's like because if you're like, maybe if your first language is English, but then you actually your first language is German, but then maybe you know English better because you're raised in like a very, very English country, and you assimilate into that kind of culture, and then you actually I think I don't know if it could work that way too. Maybe it's like because I think it is determined to be your first language, but then, like, what if your first language still isn't something maybe but like maybe over time you maybe fall out of it or something because you don't speak it as often, or maybe you move somewhere where you don't need it as often, so then you fall out of it somewhat, but then it's still your first language, but then your more prominent language, the one you speak more, understand maybe a bit more, is something outside of it. So I don't know if those factor into it, or if it's like, no, regardless, like no matter what, it's your first language, just deal with it, just go back, pick up a dictionary again, and learn, or refamiliarize yourself with the thing or something. So I mean, with Radcliffe, I was wondering, like, because he's Scottish, I think Gaelic is a language in Scotland, I think, or is that Ireland? Am I thinking of Irish? I'm not sure. I think Gaelic. I think it might be Scottish. I think. Let me try that in. No, that's Gaelic. Literally, the R is right next to the E. That is not my fault. The R is right next to the E. Scottish. Okay, Scottish Gaelic. So Gaelic pertain to the Gaels. Gaelic languages are spoken in Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. So, okay, so it's actually like a shared thing between the two. So yeah, but I mean, Radcliffe is Scottish, so he would then, by extension, like him and Fitz would likely learn Scottish too. Simmons, I mean, I can't really fully place her accent. I feel like she could be from London. From England at least. Maybe not directly from London, but I think she could at least, at the very least, she could be from England. I don't know. her voice again, it's beautiful to listen to, but I've never honestly tried. I've never tried to place her accent. I've never actually tried too hard to place her accent. I think the Scottish. I mean, for me anyway, I think the Scottish is much easier to place in Fitz than it is in Radcliffe. I don't know why that is. I think with Radcliffe it sounds somewhat smoother and more curvy, whereas with Fitz it just sounds more like hard hitting, and he's like a young Scottish lad, and he's got that kind of flair to him. He's got that kind of vibe to him. So for him, from coming from him, the Scottish kind of accent kind of feels a bit more obvious. But with Radcliffe, it feels like like you definitely notice it, but it's like it kind of slips away. But with Fitz, it's like he's there and everything. But yeah, but with Simmons, I've never been. I don't know if they've actually mentioned where she's from. If she's, she doesn't really sound. She doesn't sound. She doesn't sound Scottish herself. So I don't know. I think I might have to actually go back and actually listen to like another scene with her voice in it. Should I do that now? I think I might just do that now. Actually, just rewind the episode and go back to another scene with her in it. I don't know how I got from the Darkhold languages to this, but bear with me a moment. This is vital information. I need to learn more about my girl Gemma FitzSimmons. Yeah, Gemma Simmons. I need to learn more about Simmons. I need to see more about where she's from. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I think for me, at least for my kind of very English ears, not even the slightest hint of Scottish. I can't tell. I mean, I was rewatching that scene where she's introducing herself to the casting again, and she said Shield. For a split second, because I was so focused on getting the location right, for a split second I thought she was going to say I'm from Sheffield. But no, she's from Shield. It was literally her saying I'm Gemma Simmons, I'm from Shield. But me trying to tune the geographical part of my brain a bit more. I was like, wait, did she just say she's from Sheffield? But no, Shield. She's from Shield. Don't know if they have a Shield in Sheffield. Highly fucking doubt it. But no, I can't tell where she's actually from. So I think maybe England. If you guys do know if she's mentioned it before, and maybe I'm just forgetting. If you guys do have any idea of whereabouts in the UK she's from, do feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to know that kind of intel. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, Gaelic. I don't know if it would actually show up with Gaelic. I mean, because it's maybe safely assuming it's actually his first language. Maybe it shows up like that for him, and he just reads it. And maybe like it would be like surprising for him too. Like I think maybe because Radcliffe opened it and he had reservations immediately, just like that. He had reservations. He's like, no, we cannot read this book. This book is not safe to consume for the human mind. And everything, so he had reservations immediately. So I was wondering, like for him being because then I wonder, would you need to ask the book a question in your head, or would it just immediately read your thoughts, analyze your mind, find out what your first language is, and also find out what doubts you have the most and what fields you're curious about the most, and then give you information based on that. It didn't even show us what he saw. It just whatever he saw was enough for him to actually close the book back up and immediately be hesitant to actually go forth with any further Darkhold involvement. So yeah, I don't know what he saw or what language. I mean, if he did see it in Gaelic, it's assuming that is his first language. If he did see it in that, I think a book, him mostly being used to actually reading stuff in English for so long now, him actually reading a book that suddenly the words just phase up onto the page, and not only do they phase up onto the page or just show up out of nowhere, but it's also in Gaelic. So it's wow, it knows Gaelic is my first language, and it's giving me all this kind of information, maybe on transhumanism, maybe something else about transhumanism he hasn't discovered yet or something. So I don't know, but either way, it was enough for him to actually just not do it. And I think I loved I think I particularly loved his line comparing it to the internet. So the internet, if the internet is a garden hose, then the Darkhold is the Niagara Falls. It's the Niagara Falls. I think I love that kind of analogy where it's the internet, it still has its limitations. I think safe to say not absolutely everything is on the internet. There's a lot of good and bad. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, good and bad, and also very, very, very bad. But the internet doesn't have everything. It's the internet only has as much as the internet only has as much as the human knows. The human who inputs the information, who creates it, and hosts all these different servers of information. The internet only knows as much as humans do. That's it. So the Darkhold is the Niagara Falls. The Darkhold is the kind of key to unlimited knowledge, to extensive knowledge, like things that humans, like, look, I know it's not the best movie. I know it's really a terrible movie. I don't mean to do this, but it just like this line just popped up into my head because I remember it from the trailer, not from the movie itself. But I'm about to quote the 2015. I think, was it 2015? I think it might have been the most recent Fantastic Four movie we saw. Please don't come after me with pitchforks and all that shit. Just like hear me out. Just like the line that the dad from that movie has, like when he's describing Reed Richards, he's like, oh, he has answers to questions that we don't even know to ask yet. Like that line, that line, I feel like is also like a kind of concept and event and like kind of description to apply to the Darkhold. Like the Darkhold has answers to questions that humans don't even know to ask yet. Like no human on Earth has the knowledge on how to create like an interdimensional gateway, and even Fitz being like, I'm not even going to pretend to know what the fuck she's doing here, but all I know is that she's trying to save us, so I'm just going to roll with it. So that's all there is. So like the Darkhold has all that that level of unlimited knowledge. So it goes beyond level 7, beyond level 10, beyond level 2 trillion likely. So any question, like even the questions you don't know to ask yet, eventually you go up, you learn more and more through the Darkhold, and then you start to understand what questions you need to ask to unlock its full potential. So yeah, but and then also Radcliffe's other line that then actually spawns more fortuitous and more kind of more somewhat more I think if the ending is anything to go on, like somewhat more sinister kind of things to look forward to. The conclusion then, even the conclusion that Fitz then comes to is that, Radcliffe's key words were that, the Darkhold is too much for the human mind to bear. So then the key is then Ada. Ada is the key. And then also, that reveal came through as also actually, Radcliffe actually telling May that Ada was not human, that she was an android, and then of course Fitz telling Coulson. And I think I loved Coulson's reaction even more. Like May was just concerned. Like, wait, you were doing experiments outside of SHIELD observation? Like that was completely illegal, and you're not meant to do that. But then Coulson's like, wait, what? She's an android? I shook hands with an android, really? But no, that was really fun to see. And I think and then Ada has something, especially like Fitz just kind of yelling at her, trying to get her to get the message, like, Ada, read the book, and she's just like, I can't be sure what to do here, but I think it might be a good idea to read the book. It has that exact same energy. Maybe I should read the book. After Fitz yelling in her face like 6 or 7 times. So Ada is the key. Ada was the key, and she pulled through. Ada was, honestly, just the MVP of this episode. She is the key to bringing Coulson, and Coulson, and in the end Robbie too. In the end, Robbie came back to the portal too. So I was wondering, because like Robbie is just halfway across town at this point, so he's not going to be able to get to that portal in time, and they have no idea where he is. So like Robbie, he had his own stuff going on, which I will get to. I will get to the Robbie stuff and the Ghost Rider stuff. That stuff is too good to miss. But she pulled through. Ada is the MVP. She is the MVP, and she did great. And she looked great doing it. It's just that grey white suit, just amazing. But she did a great job, and I also love that kind of parallel to, like, in the real world, in the world of the living, in the world of the living, you couldn't tell exactly what she was doing. It looked like she was. It looked like she was just waving her hands around and actually drawing various things, but then on the other side, from Fitz and Coulson's side, you can actually see that she was actually drawing like a kind of like, almost like a technological spider web of some kind, and then it was actually revealed that she had actually used the Darkhold, and they were actually building the interdimensional gateway. So I think I like that too. With Ada, she knows many languages. Ada knows and understands many languages, as proven by her kind of proficiency with understanding May's Chinese. I can't remember exactly what kind of Chinese it was. I don't know if it was was it Cantonese? I'm not sure. Or Mandarin. Because I think she knows Mandarin. I think through her dad. I'm not sure exactly what kind of Chinese it was, but she actually, I think from what I remember, she actually managed to identify that it was Chinese. She managed to give like a direct English translation, and even managed to actually. I think she likely identified exactly what kind of Chinese it was too. But either way, she again proved that she speaks more languages. But then, given that she is a robot, she's an android. Given that she's an android, she's basically the female vision of the MCU. She essentially, she actually does see the binary code like 011011110 and like just on repeat. It's just literally plastered throughout each of the pages, just all that binary code. So I think again, I said it. I mean, when I said it, I was hoping they would go down that route for accuracy's sake. But then the fact that they actually went through it shows just how like it just shows how how careful they are when analyzing those details, because when it comes to a robot, it starts like the baseline of its knowledge and its programming and its code is literally binary code. Even like other programming languages can be simplified down to that same kind of binary code. Like that, it's where it all starts. So like that kind of attention to detail too was really cool to see. And then her being the most advanced robot on Earth at this current time. She understands it perfectly. So that was a really cool thing. So yeah, she managed to build the interdimensional gateway that Coulson and Fitz and Robbie eventually came through. So that was really cool. That was super cool. And I think that scene as well, it looked like even when the portal opened, I think they had paneling, there was an actual physical machine to help power and actually keep the gate open. But I think even on somewhat on the outer rims, you could see sparks flying out, and it definitely reminded me of the Doctor Strange portal. With Doctor Strange, it's all magic and sorcery and otherworldly kind of energy too. So that kind of energy similarly comes from a different dimension that they then harness. And the other thing in the Ancient One's case, she harnessed energy from the Dark Dimension and stuff, so that was cool. But with this one, it's actually because even with the quantum particle generator, they even analyze the fact that the boxes themselves are similar to the actual particle generator machine in the sense that they actually harness and contain energy from multiple different dimensions too. So I think that's also another thing that comes into this, when you use the dark code to create something, you will also be creating something with human-ish, with human technology, you'll be creating something with human materials, or with Earth materials that then allow you to harness and control the power of different dimensions. So it's how Eli in the end actually became the Molecule Man. He was able to actually use that power to give himself that kind of quantum control and power, and to create carbon and manipulate carbon and everything. So the dark code, it doesn't just let you understand it lets you understand how. I think one way to put it could be that it actually helps you to understand how to control and harness power from other dimensions, maybe including hell, maybe including but not limited to hell, the dark dimension where not Mephisto, what's the other dude's name from Doctor Strange, the I've come to bargain guy, what's his name, Dormammu, that's it, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, that dude, yeah, so he came from Dark Dimension. So I think when you use a dark code to actually build these machines cannot work without, they can't work without actually harnessing power from other dimensions, and especially with the portal thing, especially because you're basically building a portal to actually open up a portal to another dimension where Fitz and Coulson are. So then by actual design, and by that kind of logic, you're essentially using multiple sources of dimensional energy to do all this crazy science shit. And again, I love Fitz's response to that too. Coulson being wait, what's she doing? And he's I'm not even gonna pretend to know. I mean, he is a an expert engineer. He understands almost all sciences in the world, almost all of them, or at least almost all technological sciences. But even this kind of stuff, he couldn't even come close to actually predicting what he's trying to do. Just watches as she does it, and then hopes for the best. That's it. That's pretty much it. And then in the end, the best had come. But then that very final scene, that very, very final kind of mid-credit scene we saw, or pre-credit scene technically, because the credits actually hadn't come here, just the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo. We see Radcliffe probably drunk off his ass. He's probably drunk off his ass and singing songs about Ada, and then asking her what rhymes with her own name and everything. So he's celebrating a victory that he did very little to achieve. All but besides from actually encouraging Ada of actually reading the book and everything, so that was that. And then in her own secret room, Ada is using that same kind of line drawing technology like you would see in CAD or some other kind of computer software. Like she's using like that kind of same line technology stuff to actually design a brain. She's designing a brain. Whether or not it's a human brain, I mean, because then I did recognize it instantly as a brain, and I think it's because I'm familiar with what an actual human brain looks like, so I was able to easily attach those two visuals and line them up and everything. But then, like, whether or not she actually is creating like a human brain, maybe I don't know why she would do that though, or maybe it's for her. Maybe she actually wants like a human brain for herself. Because we don't know we don't know the full extent of what she saw in the dark hole. We don't know what kind of information she looked up. If it was actually exclusive to the actual interdimensional travel, or what it was like if it was just information about how to actually build a portal thing, or if it was actually beyond that, like how can an android become human? Because I think that would be an interesting character arc too. Like maybe secretly she would also be asking the book, how do I become human? How do I be like them? How do I like relate to them or something? Because there were several moments, like even again Mallory Jansen, the actress, she's phenomenal, right? But then especially her playing Ada, her having to play a robot that is likely still in the early ages of her character, she's definitely she's definitely like having to actually kind of really emphasize and solidify the whole robotic movement and expressions and all that kind of stuff. So even her reaction to May finding out, even her reaction to May finding out that she's an android, she just like slowly swivels her head to look at May directly, even though it's not eye contact. Even though it's nowhere near eye contact, because May is too engrossed on Radcliffe, just like swivels her head around to look at May to see how she reacts. So like probably checking her kind of micro expressions and seeing how she reacts, how her face contorts when she hears that Ada's not human, and especially because Radcliffe did tell Ada a couple of episodes before that he might, and that both he and she might have to lie to some people to keep their secret safe, and also that like the truth of her existence is also kind of like a threat to various people, so it could actually get them into a lot of trouble. And then here she is, first hand witnessing Radcliffe revealing her truth to May, and then actually seeing like if what he said is true. Like, is it true? Like, is the knowledge of my true existence like a threat to mankind or a threat to people? Like, like actually seeing how May reacts, if she accepts it, or if she actually reports this to S.H.I.E.L.D., or if she reports someone else, like seeing what she does basically. So yeah, that was cool. So now I wonder maybe if that's gonna set her on like a different path. Maybe it's like maybe she comes to the understanding that me being an android, like not just me being an android, but people knowing that me being an android, people knowing about me being an android is risky. So then, what if I just become human? What if I actually become like one of them? Then I can still fulfill my purpose, and no one has anything to worry about. Because then, again, like her purpose is to defend people. Her purpose is to beat the S.H.I.E.L.D., and she can't do that if the people that she's working with are afraid of her, or if they kind of question her if they question her like legitimacy in any way, if they actually question how trustworthy she actually is, like she's an android, so I can't really be too sure she'll keep me safe. So then she's like well they're all humans and they all seem to trust each other on some level, so maybe I just need to become like them. So then she asked the book. I think maybe then she asked the book, like, what can I do? Like, how can an android become human? Or how can an android become human? Or what can I do to become more human? And then she actually starts seeing, like, a list of maybe, like, I don't know if she just saw, like, a list of all the human organs. So, like, you start with the brain, then you wire yourself up, then you build yourself up as, like, a set of lungs, then a kidney and a liver, or, like, 2 livers, I think, is it 2? I think, no, it's 2 kidneys, and then 1 liver, then a heart to start pumping some artificial blood, and all the other things, and like some muscles and veins and everything. Like she just ends up turning into like Brainiac 5 from Supergirl or something. It's like techno-organic or something. But no, but then she is building a brain. She's actually building a brain in her own life. She's actually drawing up a brain. So I think it's very much technological. But then with her technology and her kind of her new level of power and new level of knowledge unlocked from the dark hole, I can't help but wonder maybe it's like a holographic brain too. So like she's actually building something half material, half kind of visual solely, and then she actually just fits that into her head, and she creates like a new identity, and she becomes Ada, like a new Ada, like a something else. I don't know, but either way, that one scene is making me easily more excited to see how the rest of the season goes down. Just it's such a good ending to such a great episode, and I can't wait to see how Ada herself actually evolves as a character and what becomes of her and what she does and everything. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be super fun. And then we had Ghost Rider goodness. We had some amazing Ghost Rider goodness. I did not expect the Ghost Rider goodness we got in this episode. That was some Ghost Rider goodness that was on a whole other level. That Ghost Rider goodness is amazing. And I don't know if I can compare that Ghost Rider goodness to the Ghost Rider goodness we've had in previous episodes of this season. I don't know if all these Ghost Rider goodness scenes are comparable. I think, the Ghost Rider goodness that we got in episode 1 was beyond great, but the Ghost Rider goodness we got here, every time we see some Ghost Rider goodness, I'm just happy. I'm a happy Ghost Rider fan. So, that's just great. It's great. But yeah, there's going to be a counter somewhere around the screen, registering how many times I use that phrase. Just Ghost Rider goodness, very very ghostly Ghost Rider goodness. Anyway, so then the Ghost Rider left. So yeah, I'll get to that in a minute, right? So then I think what didn't surprise me too much was Ghost Rider not being too comfortable and not being too happy inside this kind of parallel limbo dimension, not being too happy, and then all of a sudden Robbie feels cold too. That's the opposite of what he's meant to feel. He's meant to feel like a fiery vengeance surging through his veins every time, and even when he's not transforming, he just feels the Ghost Rider in him, but now he feels cold all of a sudden, and it's because the Ghost Rider himself feels cold, and Ghost Rider just feels like, this reluctance, and he also doesn't want to go back. So I think he said that he's actually been here before. I think he said, or at least he even knew where Lucy and her people were going last time too. So he didn't really want to go back there. So I think that makes me wonder, does he really just not want to go back to hell, or is there somewhere else beyond that dimension? Because again, Coulson, Fitz, and Robbie were actually further in that limbo than Lucy and her team ever were. So I think could hell be at the end of that tunnel, or is it something else that goes? Because he mentioned that he had actually escaped from there before too, so I think that has to be hell. That has to be hell. So he doesn't really want to go back there because then he might run into Mephisto too. So he doesn't want to run back into his creator. So it starts to feel weird, and then once on the Zephyr. So yeah, that scene with Mac lashing out his jump. Him jumping on the bike and being really, really determined to actually disobey order. Him being determined to follow his friends and to actually save his friends and to actually track down leads. That felt kind of accurate, but then him just randomly attacking the shield agent out of nowhere and then being I'm gonna fuck this, I'll do it myself, that felt pretty weird. So then the actual context comes in later, and the context is it's some mighty context. It's some supremely mighty context. And the context is that Coulson and Robbie and Fitz were present with Gabe and Mac and Daisy too, and the rider left Robbie's body. The rider literally, he literally jumped up and stood on his toes possession style, and then the rider left his body, and then Mac turns around and he sees the rider's spirit flying towards him, and that's the confirmation we get, and then straight afterwards that same scene plays out with Mac, punching away the shield agent and then actually riding off on the motorbike and everything. So the rider was inside Mac. We got Ghost Rider Alfonso Mackenzie. We got Alfonso Ghost Rider Mackenzie. We got that. We got Ghost Rider Mac. That is something I never thought this show would give me, and I love it for it. I love the show for it. I love Henry Simmons for it. I love the CGI artists for it. I love the writers for it. I love everyone involved in making that scene a reality and making that scene possible. We didn't really get to see him do much. We didn't actually see him get to actually fight people as a Ghost Rider, but we still did see the CGI. We saw the CGI twice. We saw the transformation happening twice. The transformation of him actually becoming the Ghost Rider, and that was super cool. So the rider itself is sentient. The rider itself has some sentience. So it actually has some sentience of its own. I'm trying to remember exactly what its kind of words were. They had a conversation with Robbie. I think that scene in reality where it looked like Mac was talking to himself or talking to no one, that was actually the rider inside of Mac actually communicating with Robbie in limbo and everything. So then the rider itself wanted Eli to pay, but then it even mentioned all the other kind of blood. it even mentioned like Robbie's neighborhood having been spilled with blood by its hands, because Robbie sought vengeance after all the gang members and the Watchdogs and the Fifth Street Locos and all the other people involved in all the shit going down. So yeah, I think the Ghost Rider. I mean I can't tell if that scene was actually it condemning Robbie or if it was actually just like. If it just wanted Eli and then wanted it to be over and done with, I think I actually have to go back and watch that scene again and actually understand the dialogue a bit better. But yeah, seeing that scene and the fact that they gave us a transformation too, even when Daisy came along and actually told Mac that like told him to come back and to let go and everything, even the rider came through and it burned the skin away. And I think yeah, Mac has some Mac has some super refined cheekbones. He has some super defined cheekbones right here. That is just I think I love the design of all the different skulls and all the different, because again it's like I think it's super easy and also in some sense super lazy, but super easy to actually just kind of copy and paste like similar skulls on each and every different person. But I like to think that like for Robbie and for Mac, they would actually put the CGI thing on Gabriel Luna and on Henry Simmons and actually make a photorealistic kind of copy of their heads and their skull shapes and all that stuff, and actually make sure that once the skin burns away, make sure the skull actually looks like what they would have underneath and everything. So that was cool. I think again, like the same for Johnny Blaze. I think it's also I think with Max, I think the appreciation I have for Max is also similar to the appreciation I have for the Johnny Blaze one last episode. It's like the bone detail. Like for Robbie, the bone to me, or at least for me, it looks like. It looks realistic, but it also looks like a bit too much like it looks a bit too much like an actual CGI skull as opposed to like an actual human skull that's been set on fire and everything. But then with Mac and Johnny, it actually looks like actual human clean bone under there that actually looks good when it's set on fire and everything. So I don't know if that's actually due to if that's like an intentional thing with the design, or if that's just like due to different kind of cuts they've made or what's happening. But I think either way, with Mac's transformation, I was kind of like I think his cheekbones, I know it's obvious immediately, but then his actual kind of like the detail along his face and his jaw and the skull and everything, like the actual bone detail looked realistic, similar to Johnny Blaze's one. So that transformation that they gave us Ghost Rider, I think as brief and bittersweet as it was, they gave us Alfonso Ghost Rider Mackenzie, and I'll be forever thankful. I will forever be thankful for that for them. So that was cool. That was supremely cool. And then in the very end, at the very end, Mac was in front of the portal, and he was sitting down on the floor, leaning against something, and he was holding something. I think it could have been a picture, because I think oftentimes you can actually get pictures that you can actually write stuff down on the back. Like even they could be Polaroids, sure, but even other pictures that you actually get printed out, you can actually write something on the back in ink and everything. And I think on his one it said Hope, and I'm gonna go back and check the date. Right, I'm gonna go back and check the date on it. Hope 4/1806. So I know with the American dating system, they write the month first and then the actual day. So that would be for April 18th, 2006, and then it says Hope. So yeah, I don't know. I think it looks like kind of like a picture. You can get scrumpled up pictures and everything, and then the picture will still be there, and then the actual paper will be there. It's really small too. So maybe just like a passport photo size picture. I don't know if I can't be really looking into this because again, it was heavily teased, and even the Ghost Rider actually mentioned sure. My deal with Robbie isn't done yet, but then Mac, Mac doesn't have any. Excuse me, I feel a sneeze about to come in. I was very right. So the writer said, sure, Mac doesn't have any vengeance in him, and that's what powers the Ghost Rider more. That he's a spirit of vengeance, and Robbie has vengeance and everything. But Mac still has pain. He still has a lot of pain in him that the writer can use. So I think, this whatever the hell this is, whether I think it has to be a picture. I think whatever this picture is, it has to be the teaser. Hope. That could be a name. I think it could be like a name. I think Hope is like a fairly common name. for people to have. So Hope for 1806. The date, I think. Yeah, I don't know if he. I think the only family we've seen him with is Reuben, his brother. That's the only family we've ever really seen him with. So I don't know if he actually has. I don't know if he actually has like a sister or maybe like another friend that he lost somewhere way back when. But he has a lot of pain, so no vengeance. I think no vengeance, but pain. I think it could also mean that if he lost someone in like a very very kind of traumatic way, then he also maybe learned to, maybe he doesn't have the vengeance because he learned to let it go. Like he's the kind of person who kind of opts to actually let things go as opposed to actually holding it in you and letting vengeance and like stuff like that, like, you know, actually take control of your mind and your heart and everything. He seems like that kind of a man. Like he actually lets it go, he moves on, but he still has that pain. The pain is still there, and this photo, like, and him sitting there with teary eyes looking at it is proof. So I'm curious to know what this is all about. And I mean, I don't want to see Mac going through more pain, but I'm still curious to see what the origin of this pain is and what the meaning of this pain is. But yeah, so whatever pain he has, the writer was able to actually identify it and actually use it. And he said, "Oh, I could thrive off of this pain for years. I could thrive off of this pain for years, and it's been years. It's been years since 2006." So yeah, so all those years of pain is enough for him to harness and use it for even more years, and to use Mac as the writer. So yeah, and then that happened, and then Robbie came through. Robbie came through the portal. In the end, he still managed to actually find the portal. So then he came back. So I think he initially disappeared. He initially actually took the Ghost Rider back, and he made a new deal. He made a new deal with the Ghost Rider. He said, you know, you help me settle all of my scores, and I'll help you settle yours too. So what? That intrigued me. I was like immediately. I was thinking, like, you know, what scores could the Rider have? Like the Rider is a spirit of vengeance that collects on deals. It makes and it collects deals. It collects souls. I think if the movie's ending to go by, it collects souls and it exacts vengeance upon those who deserve it, and it protects the innocent in a very very dark anti-hero kind of way. So I don't know what kind of. I think maybe a score against Mephisto, maybe a score against his creator, actually depowering him or taking him out or something. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what score he could have. Like what score the Ghost Rider, like the actual writer, could have. So that might take some thinking. I don't know if I can actually come up with a theory in this video, but you know, that definitely sounds intriguing. So he helps Robbie settle his scores, including like I think to be fair, the biggest one. The biggest one, and maybe the only one that Robbie actually has left, is actually capturing Eli and making him pay for his crimes. Maybe not by killing him, or maybe by killing him. Maybe he actually does feel that he actually needs to put an end to Eli's life, because he spent years in prison, and they still helped him bust out, and he still ended up achieving his goals of becoming the quantum particle man, or the molecule man, or whatever. So maybe putting him in jail. I mean, unless they put him somewhere more secure. I mean, the raft is a thing now. The raft is a thing. So maybe if they send him to the raft, and now he has powers too. So I think we've seen from the raft they were able to actually get bracelets to actually dampen Wanda's powers. So maybe they could do the same for him. I mean, they didn't exactly treat Wanda well on the raft. So you know, I wouldn't really want them to actually mistreat him as a prisoner. But either way, they had the capabilities to contain him more than regular human prison ever did. Not that he ever broke out, but still, again, he has powers now. He actually has powers. So he could easily kind of use carbon to break the wall down or to smack it apart or something. So I don't know, but either way, I think for Robbie, his last deal, his last score is definitely Eli. And then after they settle that, then he has to help the writer settle one of his scores. So I'm curious. I'm curious to know what that deal is. But now we see even Mac. He's enlisting Mac's aid. I think the writer has been inside of Mac, and I think you know, I really think that by recalling and resurfacing that pain, by merely mentioning that pain that's inside of Mac, maybe the writer itself actually made because Mac is being possessed by the Ghost Rider, so he's probably like chained up in his own body and being forced to revisit these things. And then once the writer actually acknowledges and resurfaces that pain, maybe Mac himself is forced to look at the pain that he thought he was able to put away inside his own mind years and years ago. So then that makes this scene even sadder to look at. So now he's being reminded of that pain by the Ghost Rider, and he's been being reminded of what he lost or who he lost, and then he's actually being forced to re-acknowledge what happened and maybe what he did or what he didn't do and what he could have done more of. So I think I'm super curious to see what hope and what that date means. Maybe if it's like a date of birth, or maybe it's like just like a really cool event, or like a, well, maybe not cool, maybe like a happy event or something. I don't know. Either way, answers will come. Hopefully, answers will come. So I just need to shut up and stop theorizing. But either way, I'm curious to see how it goes down. But now we know that now. Whatever deal that Robbie is settling, he's enlisting Max A2. So now two people one person who currently is the Ghost Rider and one person who has been the Ghost Rider, however briefly, now teaming up and actually settling both Robbie and the Rider scores. So it's good to see Robbie's back. It's good to see Robbie's back, and I presume that he actually came back with the Rider inside him. So yeah, that will be fun to see. That'll be very fun to see. My FitzSimmons. I'll tell you, right? The moment I knew that stuff was gonna go down was that argument scene where Fitz was yelling in Coulson's face about the prospect of losing Gemma, and even Gemma losing him. Again, if you needed proof that, among many things, that scene, once again proves that Ian DeCastiga is a guy that took the role of Leopold Fitz, and he embraced it like the gauntlet. He embraced it like Thanos embracing the gauntlet. He put it on like a gauntlet, and he snapped his fingers and gave it. Instead of wiping out half of reality, he just gave us amazing performances. Every time he snaps his fingers, he gives us amazing performances, and that is a gauntlet snap I will take any day of the week over the Blip. So yeah, and speaking of the Blip, I think it's actually been something I've been thinking about for a while now, but it like speaking of the Blip and the Gauntlet, yeah, that thought actually just popped back into my head. We are after Civil War. We have gone past Civil War. We've gone past Civil War. We've likely gone past Doctor. We would likely gone past Doctor Strange as well. So next up, I think, should be Infinity War, right? I think because I can't imagine. I think Black Panther should come out. I think Black Panther definitely came up before Infinity War as well. So Doctor Strange and then Black Panther. Black Panther takes place directly after Civil War 2 as well. Or Civil War as well, not Civil War 2. Not yet anyway. So there's that, and then after that is Infinity War. After that, so I think Infinity War is a 2018 movie. So. Yeah, like a good year after this. I don't know if we're actually going to get like an Infinity War crossover this season or next season or what's going to happen. But Infinity War, we know what happens, and we know that this is MCU. This is MCU canon. I don't care what anyone says. This is fucking MCU canon. But that means that the blip, the snap happened. So I can't help but imagine who actually gets, like, if like a dusting happens in this, because then. If it does happen, then I don't know how the timelines would match up, because then if anyone does get dusted in this show, they ain't coming back for another 5 years. So I don't know if this show actually has like a flash forward, or like if it has a time jump too that jumps five years forward, and it just shows that the S.H.I.E.L.D. team struggling. Because then again, you'd have to pick and choose who you dust off from the S.H.I.E.L.D. team, and like losing any more people than they already have is not something that the inner circle of the team can handle. You pick any one member, and that is not a team. That is not a member of the team, because this team is unarguably a bit like this team is unarguably more tightly knit than the Avengers ever were. Like, this team is an actual family. They're an actual found family, and losing each other is not something that they can actually handle well, even if you give them 5 years to do it. So I can't help but imagine if they actually do try and go for like an Infinity War tie-in, who are they going to kill off? I don't want to think about it, because then the more I think about it, for one thing, it's gonna be super sad to think about, but for another thing, I'm going to end up theorizing, and then I'm going to end up actually, coming up with theories that make sense, and then I'm going to end up spoiling it for myself, and I'm going to end up crying too early. So I don't want to think about who's going to get dusted and if anyone's going to get dusted. I think we also very rarely get more than name drops and references. I think like Infinity War, the ending to Infinity War is unarguably the most kind of earth-shattering and universe-shattering kind of consequence than a movie that a Marvel movie has ever had. So it would be, and I think the running, like in terms of connecting Marvel TV to Marvel to the MC to the larger MCU. The most common kind of running joke I've seen is that Thanos snapped his fingers and he wiped out all of the Marvel Netflix series, like in Infinity War happened, and then one by one each of the Marvel Netflix shows were cancelled, and then they were never renewed. So that's one of the ways in which Marvel affects the TV universe. So like Thanos snaps his fingers and then he wipes out all the Defenders. So none of them had a chance of surviving. So. Yeah, I mean, even before that happened, I heard like cool fan theories about who could disappear and who could disappear, and like who could die in the Netflix series. But then that's it. That's what the blip did. It just wiped out Daredevil, wiped out Iron Fist, wiped out Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and all of them. So all their shows are gone. I think that is so ironically the coolest way to inflict the snap upon the Marvel TV universe. It's ironically enough the coolest way to do it. Like don't worry about who dies. Just everyone dies. The entire show dies. All the shows die. Like no chance of renewal. Just I think even like realistically speaking, like that was actually Netflix's decision to cut off the shows and decide to stop making them. So Netflix themselves were secretly Thanos all along. So yeah, but then with this show goes beyond that. This show literally ended last year, which was long after Endgame. So. Clearly, this show surpassed Infinity War, and someone had to die. So, if we're lucky, and if the characters have plot armor strong enough, then they will all the characters on the team will survive the snap. But then they will just watch all the other kind of maybe the outer agents, maybe all the agents on the outside of the inner circle, maybe all of them will die off. But I don't know. Either way, it's just something I've been thinking about, and I can't help but think, like no matter how hard I try to actually not come up with theories, I can't help but think, Infinity War's coming, that crossover's coming, someone's gonna die, someone's gonna get snapped out of reality, and then they're gonna have to find a way to, you just wait 5 years to bring them all back again, and then stuff's gonna go to shit even more. But yeah, I mean, even if that did happen, that is just proof that we really could have used the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the final battle, in the Battle of Earth. Like in Endgame, could have had like a portal with, well, maybe Ghost Rider versus Thanos. That would be cool to see. But then like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like the Zephyr flying through a portal, and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just doing like a skydive or something, and dropping out of the bus and dropping out of the plane, and then I don't know, but. Either way, I can't wait to see what the Infinity War crossover is for this show and seeing how it affects it and seeing what happens. So it goes without saying, no spoilers, no hints, no teasers, don't get too attached to this character for now, don't get too attached to that character. I mean, it's too late for that. I'm already connected from the heart to their hearts to all of these characters. So that won't matter. But still, no teasers, no mentions, no hints, no surprises, or no. Nothing like that. So I will find out in due time, and I'm more than happy to wait that due time to find out. So, yeah, but where was I? FitzSimmons. I was talking about FitzSimmons. I really went from Ian putting on a gauntlet and giving us, again, tangents are my thing. Rambling and tangents definitely down my alley. Or up my alley, rather. Anyway, but yeah, the FitzSimmons content in this. Yeah, no, just Fitz is yelling in Coulson's face. That got to me, and especially him yelling that, it's because of the fact that I think he mentioned that they had an argument before. I don't know if I recall the argument, because what was the last thing that, the last interaction I can remember is, what was it? I think it might have been Daisy and Gemma and Daisy teaming up in the James episode. That was the last thing I remember. That's the last thing. I think they were on the phone and she was actually looking up apartments. And she was looking up apartments. And I think no. Then there was one after that. I think there was definitely one after. There was when they were talking about the the lie detector test. Like they were talking about the lie detector test, and Fitz was struggling to keep the information about Ada and the Darkhold from her, and there was that stuff going on. So I think I don't specifically recall any arguments. It could just be my memory being faulty as per usual, but I don't specifically remember any arguments going down. But either way, apparently they were arguing. I think he mentioned that they were arguing, but now they ended their last encounter. They ended their last interaction on that kind of a note, and now he's gone, and now Mace had to go and contact Gemma and tell her what had happened, and then she had to try and deal with the fact that Fitz was gone, presumably dead, possibly dead, but he was gone, so that was not something that he could deal with, and I just could not help but just feel in my heart and soul for Fitz, just feel his pain, feel his emotions, and then they have to make it even worse with FitzSimmons' reunion. The FitzSimmons reunion, my heart can't handle, even if it's positive and heartwarming content, even if it's wholesome, positive, heartwarming reunion content, my heart can't handle that. My heart cannot handle that kind of content either. So, seeing Fitz so angrily storming up to Mace and being like, you better tell me where the f*** you sent my future wife, or so help me God, and human or not, I will tear this base to pieces with you inside it. And then all of a sudden he hears Simmons calling out for him from down the corridor, and then they run, and then they embrace. Let me just say, right, ironically enough, despite the amount of pain that this show gives me, I am so supremely happy I got into this show and into this fandom. I'm so happy I got into this story and into these characters and everything. This just it gives me everything. It gives me again. It's sustenance. It's sustenance in the weirdest possible way. It is sustenance. It gives me everything I need and everything I want. And it's like the most kind of ironic. It's the most ironic, most painful serotonin you could get, because it gives you pain first and then gives you serotonin afterwards and everything. And even Daisy trying to counteract the team's disbelief, them not really believing that Coulson and Robbie and Fitz could still be alive, and then her saying Coulson came back from the dead, Robbie can turn his skull into fire, and then Fitz jumped through a hole in space to save Simmons. That is his defining moment. That is his most defining moment as a man, as the lover of Simmons, as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. He dove through a hole in space without hesitation to save the woman he loves. That is his defining moment. That is ask any agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. viewer who has surpassed season 3, and especially me. That is his defining moment. Fitz jumping through a hole in space to save Simmons is his defining moment. That is it. That is the bar. That is the bar. People, I see people constantly saying that TV characters and characters in TV shows and movies constantly raise the bar and make it impossible for real people to actually meet expectations. This is proof. You will never find a man better than Leopold Fitz. He will literally dive through a hole in space to save you. And it's only going to be possible in this kind of story. It's only going to be possible where stuff like this exists, and it's never going to happen in real life. So yeah, just that reunion actually made my heart drop and then float back into place with butterflies all around it, and it just turned into goo. Just just how fast they ran back into each other's arms and how hard they embraced each other afterwards. It's just like the hug to end all hugs, the embrace to end all embraces, and it's just so good. That reunion was everything. That reunion, FitzSimmons reunions are everything. They are everything that you need and more. You know what? I was gonna continue that line, that sentence with the lyrics from Halo from Beyonce, but I can't remember them off by heart. So I guess just never mind. But Simmons, speaking of Simmons was drawn away by Senator Ellen Nadir. Her first name is Ellen. I did not know that. That's cool. Ellen Nadir. I'm definitely gonna stammer saying that name. Ellen Nadir. Yeah. So Senator Nadir. So the cocoon that we found in her apartment. They found the cocoon in her apartment. I think those were scientists actually actively working for her. But then Simmons, having studied in humans, being the expert on them, she was the one best fit to actually investigate the cocoon, and I think to investigate the cocoon and see what was happening. So the cocoon had been in gestation. It had been formed and transforming the Inhuman inside for 7 months. That alone blew me away. That not only was it not like a husk, it was an actual cocoon, but the guy inside had been inside transforming and transitioning into an Inhuman for 7 months too. So that is a mighty long time. Like pretty much every other Inhuman transformation and transition has been pretty much instantaneous, with their powers slowly manifesting over time too. But with this one, it took 7 months. I'm wondering, what the fuck must his powers be? Like what must his powers actually be if he's in there for 7 months? Like, is he, because then clearly he transformed inside his own apartment. Clearly he transformed, and then actually, the husk formed around him, the cocoon formed around him in his own apartment, and then he was collected from there, and then transported to like a more isolate, remote kind of science, like a laboratory tent of sorts, where Simmons herself was actually masked up and then transported to as well. But yeah, I'm curious to see what his powers might be, and I think he's Asian, and Nadia is Asian too, so I kind of have to go off some kind of safe assumption. So maybe like her brother too, maybe it's actually her brother, so I don't know how, but I think I am, oh god, I am anticipating so much family drama on that front. Like, if it is her brother, I think, if it is her brother, then, the woman in America who hates Inhumans the most now has an Inhuman brother. I do not anticipate any good thing coming from this. I do not anticipate not a single good thing coming from this new revelation. I don't know how she's gonna deal with it. Maybe if she's actually gonna keep him in the dark, or maybe force him to be like a closeted Inhuman or something. Maybe like warn him against coming out, because it could look bad for her, and it could actually look bad for him too. Or maybe if this actually changes it, maybe if it's like, a case of like, oh, she hates Inhumans so much because she doesn't know any of them personally, but now her brother is an Inhuman. Maybe now she actually gets to know him, gets to understand that he's still the same person, but just with a few added powers and enhancements now. So maybe she actually gets to know him, and then starts to see that, oh, like inhumanity, just like humanity itself, is a grey area. There are some bad ones, there are some good ones. It just depends on the person. So then maybe she actually starts to take a more neutral and maybe somewhat more positive stance on Inhumans. I mean, I'd love to see that character development. I would love to see that kind of character development where she actually where she actually comes to understand Inhumans through her own brother, and then she goes on to actually start to behave more positively, and maybe even work more positively and more cooperatively with Mace himself, and actually understand Inhumanity a bit more. Maybe she even teams up with them to go against the Watchdogs and everything. Like that kind of, I think that kind of development would actually work really well, and I think that could actually be really cool to see too. So I guess only time will tell. Only time will tell if that is the path she goes down, or if she still kind of, or if maybe she even disowns her brother. Maybe she even maybe she even disowns him and refuses to like associate with him in any way at all, given that he's now Inhuman. That would be really sad to see. That would be really sad. But I think if she can actually bring herself to actually understand the Inhumans more through him, and becomes a better person because of it, but then that would be even more, that would be admirable and even cooler. So yeah, please don't do anything bad to him. Don't do anything bad. Let's actually have her actually create like reaching a more neutral standpoint, and actually understanding him, and hopefully we actually get to meet and like a nice person in her in whoever he is, and in her brother too. So yeah, I mean, for now I'm going off the assumption that he is in fact her brother, and that he is connected in that way. But I guess we'll see. But I mean, their treatment of Simmons too. I mean, Simmons are rightfully calling out their lack of respect too. Like them bringing her here completely masked up and not really telling her where they were or what they were really doing. Just immediately pushing her into a lab with an Inhuman cocoon, expecting her to have all the answers. Like her rightfully calling out their lack of respect and lack of actual, direction in that kind of situation too, was actually really cool to see. And then even in the end, as soon as the cocoon awakens, as soon as the shell drops and you see his face and you see he's awakened, it's like, oh great, he's awakened, now we can let Nadir know, and we can mask Simmons up again and drag her out of the lab and push her back in the shield. So it's literally just using her as a tool, literally just assuming, for one thing, using her as a tool, but then assuming that she also just immediately knows everything there is to know about Inhumans, and she's the key. So once you then have no use left for a key, you just throw her away and throw her back in the shield. You throw her back into shield like she's some kind of used something. I'm not really going to go into any specific labels or details, but I think that kind of treatment of Simmons was really uncool to see and really unkind to see. But yeah, no, I think the only thing that made that sequence better was to see her running back into the arms of her future husband. Like to see her running back into the arms of it and actually having that reunion again was the only thing that really topped that scene. So yeah, happy ending. A happy ending all around. Everyone went back to their significant others. You know, Phil fell back into the arms of May. Robbie doesn't really have a significant other. I mean, him and Mack. I mean, him and Mack should be the kind of buddy kind of demonic Hobbies duo that we need in this show. Like Robbie and Matt could be a really cool duo to see. So that would be cool there. And then FitzSimmons being reunited, so that was really fun. So most people got their happy endings. Most people in the show got their happy endings, and that is what matters. So yeah. But that is it. Yeah, that is pretty much all I've picked up from this episode after my initial viewing. There's probably a lot that there's probably a few details here and there that I've missed out that I'll have to go back and watch the episode for again. Overall, that was great. Again, such a good episode. Such a great episode of this show. Can't wait to get into more and see where this leads. But even on its own, it stood really well. As like a great kind of like a character story and visuals kind of paralleling kind of episode of showing us different perspectives and showing us how the story continues in that sense and how characters continue. So it was really fun in that sense. But yeah, that is all I've got. So any theories you guys have? Any again, spoiler free to the absolute kind of maximum. For maximum enjoyment and for maximum kind of authentic reaction material. But yeah, any theories you guys have? Any thoughts you have? What you thought about this episode, what you thought about this episode, what you enjoyed about this episode, all that kind of good stuff. I am more than happy to hear. The comments are open, have at it. But yeah, until the next time, that is it. So that was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 7. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.